people's basic academic ability in terms of their career, and the same happens in sports to a degree as well. Okay, in various systems, we wouldn't have the players we have if they weren't allowed to express themselves and get out there and do it. Years ago I was at a conference and someone said to me, do you think that if Zinedine Zidane was a young player over here, he would have gone on to be who he was? I said, you know what, I don't know, I honestly don't know. Because the way he plays his game, he just goes out there and does what he's got to do. Okay? And maybe the system he was in was conducive to that style of play. I don't know. That we won't know. Tennis, for example. Have we got a Federer out there? Have we got a Nadal out there? Well, we've got people with 2 arms and 2 legs and a brain. So, where do we run with that?
Is that the American to do it this year?
Well, possibly. Well, it won't be through any help of the LTA because he didn't go through their system. And I'll say that openly and honestly. And I worked for the LTA, and I've honestly and openly talked about what I thought their methods were in the past. I think their methods are very restrictive and very confined to people. So it won't be through their help. It'll be through him using his initiative. His mum paying at great expense, sending him across to do his trade in Spain.
What's the LTA?
The Lawn Tennis Association. So it won't be through them that he's gone on to be who he's become, because he privately went and done his own tuition in Spain and learned in Florida as well. So, I mean, there are some fantastic sporting establishments in this country who do produce and are conducive to producing. Okay, but like everything else, really, you've got to model things that are working wherever you are to succeed. Really, you've got to sort of, for want of a better word, beg, steal, and borrow where you can get. Okay, if you can't find what's working here or somewhere else, it's looking at and uncovering every stone to get the result that you want. Really, that's key. Okay, if you want to produce good athletes in one area, good sprinters, you might go over to see where good sprinters are being produced. If you want to produce good whatever sport you're involved in, maybe you could identify a pathway and learn from that and implement some of it within your own strategy. But compelling future is quite simple, really, because the mind is really powerful. The mind is powerful. The reason everybody is where they are today in the room in terms of your own careers is through your mind, through your thought process. You didn't get there by luck, you didn't get there by chance, you got there through your own thought process. Okay? You're responsible, you're accountable for being where you are, and you'll be responsible and accountable for where you are in 5-10 years' time. Because where your thoughts are is where your actions are going to lie. Okay? Where you decide you'd like to be, where you set your benchmark, is where you'll end up being. If you feel as a result of anything that you've learned or anything that you've learned in the past that you set your benchmark at a certain level, then the chances are you'll sort of achieve it or get somewhere near it. But if you're happy being where you are, then you know that you'll achieve that as well. So one thing that I learned and one thing that I found really interesting, I was talking to a very, very intelligent person who actually mastered the modelling side of NLP. So my specialism in NLP is behavioural modelling, and I spoke to them, and I said, well, why is it we can look at the how-to, we can look at subjective experience, we can look at all these strategies, but what is it that separates that one person from everybody else? And it's a simple one. It's where they believe they should be. Okay, so like we mentioned the football analogy yesterday, okay, there are probably 1,000, if not maybe even more than 1,000, 10,000 people out there that probably got the same qualifications, if not more, than Mourinho. There's probably more than that. There's probably 1,000 or 10,000 people who've achieved more on the football field. But he is where he is. And a lot of it's down to his attitude, really, his psychology. Okay, you could say, people might say, well, luck in a game against United, this happened, but you can't keep doing things consistently through luck. You can't. It's impossible. You might have luck once or twice, but you can't just keep doing it. And what's really interesting now, you've got someone who's got a very similar coaching philosophy to him and belief strategy, who's just got one of the biggest jobs in the country. So where are they getting this from? This self-belief? So it's where they feel they should be, and that's a big part. So if you think you should be at the very highest, you'll walk away from today and tomorrow morning, you'll be on the phone to whoever you want, knocking down the door. If you don't feel up to that level, then you'll act accordingly, really. So your actions will be based on where you feel or think you should be. Okay, and then my school of thought is one of two things. You'll think you should be in a certain place based on what somebody else has told you, or based on what you think the criteria is. Okay, so someone might have told you that I'm not so sure you've got the capability to do that, and you believe that. Yeah, or someone might tell you, hang on, you didn't do this well at school, you didn't do this well over here, and you kind of accept that. And if we all accept that, we wouldn't have aeroplanes today, because someone told the Wright brothers it was impossible to fly. Someone told Walt Disney it's impossible to do a theme park. Someone told the Edison that it was impossible to invent light, electricity. They've all had these challenges, really. Someone forgot to tell the bumblebee it shouldn't fly. The law of physics, it should not fly. It flaps its wings, but it flies. But it does it anyway, really. So sometimes, we can be very analytical and look for things, really. But the beauty of this technique and the power of this technique, it lets the mind, the most powerful thing. Your mind is more powerful than 10 skyscrapers. It's got so much information in there. It's unbelievable how powerful it is. Okay, have you ever seen those stories and read those stories of, you've got like an old grandmother who picks up a car to save a child, for example. And they're factual, it happens. So what's going on there? There must be something within the mind, some untapped reserve that we've got that we don't use because we're told not to use it, because we're part of this system that tells us that, okay, it puts limitations on us, really, when you think about it. So the beauty of this technique here, for me, the most powerful thing about it was, I remember reading a lot of stuff on psychology and learning a lot of psychological concepts, and they said the child is father to the man. And a lot of it was centered around the 0 to 7 years imprint phase. Who you are is based on what happened then, and the only way you're going to break out of it is by self-analysis and whatever else that's involved to break out of that. And I didn't think that was fair. I thought, well, hang on a second here. If you're lucky enough to have all the advantages in life, then great, but what if you weren't? Why should you have to settle for anything less? Why should you have to be, the person that doesn't get a chance to live a dream? I didn't think it was right. I thought, we should all have some sort of chance. We shouldn't have to die wondering, really. And the beauty of this technique, the most powerful thing about this technique is I put it into a seminar, and the seminar I would run, and I ran for like a number of years. The amount of people who do this to initiate their thought process and would email back saying, I've just released a new book, I've just done this, I've just done that. So in my own mind, I sort of took for granted the power of creating a compelling future, really. But because we're using our senses and because we're formulating a plan, we're on the way. We can move forward. So another powerful technique for you to use in your performers is compelling future. Very, very powerful technique to get them to sit down and think about where they want to be. But where it differentiates to goal setting is they actually think about how they can get to where they are. And the way they can think about getting to where they are is by experiencing it. Imagine being there. Okay? As if you are where you want to be, and reflect on what you think may have got you to where you want to be. And then you can backtrack and plan. Okay, so what I'll do, before I'll do a demonstration, and then we can have a practice amongst ourselves and go from there. Okay. Anyone want to have a go?
Some water, Jimmy.
Yeah, sure.
I'll do it then.
Yeah. Okay.
Right now. Right.
Okay, are you alright to share with us what you want to do, or do you want to just keep it to
Yeah,
yourself?
that's cool. I want to do a seminar on a big scale event
Okay.
based on like relationships, love,
Okay.
transformation.
Okay. How big do you want the seminar to be?
On a big scale, I'd want to see about 100 people.
100 people.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, how will you know? How will you know that you've created this seminar? What will you see, hear, and feel?
I'd feel a buzz around. I'd see it being advertised on newspapers. I'd see radio interviews and TV. I'd have people come up to me, asking me about it.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take you through this process, and I'm going to get you to generate a motivating outcome. I'm going to get you to experience it like it's happening now. Then having done that, I'm going to take you through a step-by-step program or process where you actualize the plan. So in a way, in effect, we're going to sort of work backwards. So like you are doing what you want to do. You are in the process. So we're going to generate, and you already generated a motivating outcome, okay? But to move forward, I'm going to get you to relax, let yourself go, and close your eye. Okay, I want you to create the outcome. Think about the outcome, okay? Notice where you are, where you're doing the seminar, who you're delivering the seminar to, the group of people, 100 people, set a date, you're delivering a seminar based on what you want. Okay, notice the people in the audience, who they're going to be, if they're listening into what you've got to say. Give me a nod when you've got all that. Give me a nod when you've got your outcome. Okay, I want you now to see the colours of what people are wearing. I want you now to notice what colours you're wearing, what you're hearing, what you're saying in the seminar. Okay, so we're going to use what we call submodalities, senses to process information. And now I want you to imagine stepping out of the picture. Okay, imagine stepping out of this picture, and imagine a line on the floor that represents time. Okay, imagine walking on this line that represents time, just beyond you achieving your goal. Okay, so you can see yourself achieving your goal slightly in front of you, and you can see the past on a line that represents time. Can you do that? Okay. As you do that, I want you to generate a plan. Yeah? I want you to imagine walking back to the here and now. As you walk back, see your outcome and generate a plan. Step by step, the things that you've done to get there. Okay? Every step of the way, what you've done to get there. And put these things on that line that represents time. Can you do that? Think of any emails, any phone calls, any papers you've contacted, radio, things that you need to do that. Yeah. Okay. And gradually make your way to the here and now. As you make your way to the here and now, just put anything right that you feel you need to put right. Okay. As you walk back to the here and now, and you come back to the here and now, just reflect and look at the pathway to your goal. Okay, you can see yourself in the distance, taking those steps to achieve the goal. Just put anything right that you need to put right. Okay? And in your own time, at your own pace, just come back to the here and now when you're ready, when you've put everything in order and you know what steps you've got to do to get to where you've got to get to. Okay? Brilliant. How did it feel to actually have
There was a lot of work to do.
Okay.
There's a lot of work.
A lot of it's not going to happen on its own. Yeah, so you had an idea of what steps you've got to do to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were able to generate a plan.
Yeah.
And what did that plan involve?
I saw like a lot of TV and radio.
Okay.